How's it going, very welcome back to another episode of the Hip Drop Podcast. We are back for this Week 11 preview. Week 11 already. Lucas and I will also touch on some of the biggest storylines in the NFL this week after our Week 10 recap yesterday. But first of all, Lucas, how you doing on the eve of Week 11?
Doing all right. Kind of excited for Chiefs football to be back after a weekend off, but
Are you?
we'll
I
see.
mean,
We'll see if they prove me right for being excited. But let's talk about a lot of stuff happened since our last episode, surprisingly enough. So let's talk
yeah.
about that.
So this actually happened prior to our episode yesterday, and Lucas and I briefly touched on it. But the New York Giants have fired head coach Brian Daboll. They made that decision early Monday afternoon. They were off to a 2-8 start. They had lost four in a row, headlined by that epic collapse out in Denver, blowing a pretty substantial lead to the Broncos, allowing 33 points in the fourth quarter, and then never got back on the rails after they got a big win on Thursday Night Football against the Eagles, which maybe potentially got their season going a little bit. But the Dable era in New York started off very well. I mean, in his first year there in 2022, they started 7-2. They kind of fell apart late in the year. That team was really not that talented, but they got to the playoffs, and then they headed to Lucas's neck of the woods and won a road wild card game against the Vikings. Um, a game that got Daniel Jones that big payday, and then they went to Philadelphia, got demolished, but obviously not much was expected there. It was far inferior. They were the far inferior team, but it was overall a successful first season, and that was as good as it got. 2023, they started 2-8. They got some nice wins at the end of the year. They finished 6-11. Last year was just an absolute catastrophe. 3-14, one of the worst seasons in franchise history. They were 2-11 or 2-12 at one point. And then this year, again, just another bad start to the year. I think this was a move that was a long time coming. I think this is a move that I thought should have happened at the end of last year because I said they won 3 games. And Lucas, this is where I'm going to give you the floor because when the Giants made the decision to bring back Brian Daboll and Joe Shane after a 3-win campaign last year, I was shocked. I'm like, there's no way. I mean, they were so bad last year, and Lucas disagreed with that line of thinking. And I talked about him. He and I talked about it a couple days ago when it happened, and he still stands by it. So, Lucas, why do you think the Giants brought back Dayball this year? Because I just felt like it was delaying the inevitable.
I think they brought him back because they realized they had some sort of self-awareness and understood that if they fired him, they were not going to get a candidate that was desirable. And like, you might as well stick with Dayball, who was not an elite coach, not a high level coach, but he wasn't like Antonio Pierce or like David Culley or Urban Meyer. They realized because at that point, you got to remember the context. Last at this point last offseason, they didn't have like a ton of cap space. They like early in the offseason last year, they didn't have a ton of cap space. They didn't have an elite draft pick. They had like the second overall pick in a draft that was not exactly loaded with quarterbacks. There was one quarterback that was Cam Ward. Shedeur Sanders nor Jackson Dart was worthy of the second pick. And so my argument was if they fire Dayball and Joe Shane, who are they going to hire? Like, they don't exactly have a very sexy job opening. So my opinion was ride it out with Dayball for another year rather than hiring a guy who they likely will have to fire after 1 year anyways. And I think I flat out said I wouldn't be surprised if Dayball got fired at this point, but I just didn't think they were going to hire anyone of like, no, like they were not going to get an elite head coaching candidate in New York. I don't think Belichick was already in North Carolina at that point. So
He was,
my,
yes.
yeah, the crux of my argument was pretty much they're not going to hire anyone good anyway. So they might as well just stick with Dayball, ride it out. And I think right now the Giants opening is a more appealing opening because Jackson Dart has shown potential. Malik Neighbors showed even more potential. So I think that's going to be more attractive for a head coach opening. And I do. It does have to be said that playing in New York is a disadvantage because like everything that happens is under much more of a microscope. I think if this was like Tennessee, they they could probably get away with it, but they're pretty much no at this point last year there was no upside to the Giants job. Not a ton of money, not as much as you would think. No quarterback at spot in place, no real assets to go get a quarterback, and the roster's not really in a great position. So like Mike Vrabel was never going to consider that job. Like Mike Vrabel, like I know he was like a New England guy, but even if Vrabel had his pick, the Giants were going to be pretty low on the totem pole. That was my argument. And just in terms of Daboll, he just didn't work out. I mean, I think a more underrated part of his tenure was like not exactly the best people person. Like I don't know
Mm.
if you remember from a couple of years ago, he had that like weird falling out with like Wink Martindale, like and like
Yeah,
he just
yeah,
kind of
yeah, yeah.
left,
I remember. Yeah.
like kind of left at a weird time. I that should have been a bigger red flag. I think people just mostly ignored that. That should have like been like, oh, that's a kind of a problem, and didn't really get better. Jackson Dart played well, which I guess is a positive. He won a playoff game. Like many coaches don't win a playoff game in their careers, so good on him. I think this was kind of deserved. I still stand on business. They shouldn't have fired him, or I'm not going to say shouldn't have fired. Like I don't think it would have been a bad choice. I just don't think they would have gotten anybody desirable. I think right now their job position, their opening for the 2026 season would have been is more attractive than at the same point last year.
Oh, I agree. Because Dart looks like he has some talent at the quarterback position, and of course, you lose Malik Neighbors in week 4, who's your best player. You lose Cam Scattaboo. It's just another bad year for the Giants, who have done nothing but have bad seasons, with the exception of that magic carpet ride in 2022. And look, it was ultimately a disappointing era. They got off to a promising start for Dayball. It looked like he'd bring them that franchise, which was pretty downtrodden before he got there, back to some respectability, and it just didn't work out. I do think he'll get a job as an offensive coordinator next year. Um, but I just think, yeah, it just didn't work. It is what it is, and the Giants move on, and they promoted Mike Kafka. Did Mike Kafka play for the Chiefs, Lucas? I feel like he did.
He was a former Andy Reid assistant.
Okay,
That I think he was
because he
hired
played
to the
quarter. No,
Giants.
he played for the Eagles, didn't he? He was a quarterback for the Eagles for a little bit.
Yeah, Andy Reid drafted him, but like he was an assistant coach. He was like a quarterback coach for the Chiefs for a while, and then he got hired over to the Giants after it was clear that Eric Bieniemy was still going to be the offensive coordinator. Because if you remember, Kafka was kind of next in line, but then Bieniemy stuck around for one more year, and that kind of forced Kafka to go to the Giants for 2022, and then Bieniemy left, and Matt Nagy took over the offensive coordinator role. So Kafka was supposed to be the next in line of the offensive coordinator pipeline, but went to the Giants instead. But yeah, Kafka's been with Andy Reid pretty much his whole professional football career until he went to the
Yeah,
Giants.
and he'll be the interim coach for the Giants. They haven't had their bye yet, so their last 7 games of this season. All right, we're going to stick with the Giants because they made a decision today. So Jackson Dart, of course, left the Bears game with a concussion. He will not play this week against the Green Bay Packers. And people, you think, oh, it's going to be Russell Wilson again. Russell Wilson was their starter to open the year, got benched after that pretty pitiful performance against our Chiefs on Sunday Night Football. He came in relief of Dart last week against the Bears. It went about as you'd expect, but he will not be starting against the Packers on Sunday. Jameis Winston is getting the ball. This will be Jameis's first start of the season, his first start since week 15 of last year, ironically enough, against the Chiefs. And you know what Jameis is going to do? He's going to push the ball down the field. He's going to throw touchdowns. He's going to throw for yards. He's also going to throw a lot of picks. He ultimately be more fun to watch than Russell Wilson will be. But the big story here is Russell Wilson is effectively now, if this stands, the third string quarterback for the rest of the year on a team that is 2-8. And it is so beyond over for this guy. It's unbelievable. This is a guy who was at a certain point a top 5 quarterback in the NFL in Seattle, multiple time Pro Bowler. Of course, he won that Super Bowl, ironically enough, in MetLife Stadium all that time ago. Probably should have 2 rings. We all know why he doesn't. But he's now a third string quarterback, which is pretty. There are a lot of quarterbacks in the NFL it's just over for. Russ headlines them. Kirk Cousins, another one. Andy Dalton, another one. If Sunday's game is an indication, Aaron Rodgers is trending that way. I don't know if we're there yet, but Russell Wilson is just, he cannot he has to retire after the season. It's done, and it's been done for a while.
Yeah, I think if he has any pride, he or like I'm not gonna say self-respect. He's already made a ton of money. He has a Super Bowl. He doesn't have a whole lot left to prove. He probably no longer has a Hall of Fame career. It's like one of the very few guys that like had a Hall of Fame career like almost on lock and then kind of played his way out of it. Like a
Yeah,
lot of guys that lose their Hall of Fame card, it almost seems like they do it for character reasons or off-field reasons. Russell Wilson just kind of played himself out of it. I I if I were him, I would just retire. Like, hey, I give him my all, but I don't know if he's going to be that type of guy. Maybe he just wants to play in the NFL for as long as he possibly can. Maybe he's has so much self-belief or delusion that he can become a starter again. Like maybe if it makes sense, he goes to a team with like a clear, like young starting quarterback that's good, where he's not going to be the guy. There's no like story about Russell Wilson potentially being the starter. And like maybe that's his way. He just mentors a young established quarterback. Like maybe he goes to Tennessee to back up Cam Ward or something like that.
Yeah.
But like he's not, I think any team that's signing Russell Wilson with the anticipation that he's probably going to start games, not for injury, but like maybe he's going to compete. I think that's a very, very dangerous game, and I would not do that. If they're signing him purely to be a backup, I think that's fine, but maybe he's just too big of a name to be a pure backup.
I mean, he is. I mean, this is a guy who is one of the best quarterbacks of the 2010s. Like, he's had an excellent career. He showed some life in Pittsburgh last year, but obviously it fizzled out. But these last 4 years, really last 5 years, his last year in Seattle wasn't exceptional either. It's just really a rough way to go out for Russell Wilson. And looks like I mean, he probably won't play again this year if he's third string. And Jameis Winston, of course, is getting the ball on Sunday. All right, enough of the Giants. We don't need to spend much more time on a team that has 2 wins. Let's go to a team that is playing the Giants on Sunday. The Green Bay Packers. The Packers have lost 2 straight, both at home. They have lost to the Panthers and, of course, the Eagles, despite the fact that they've given up a combined 27 points in those games. They scored 16 points in a loss to no, they scored 13 against Carolina. So they've given up 26 points. Scored 13 against Carolina. They scored 7 on Monday night against the Eagles. So a really rough stretch for Green Bay. And then there's been talk about whether or not Matt LaFleur could be on the hot seat, which I think is pretty wild. Because in my opinion, I think Matt LaFleur is a very good coach. He has been for a while. They've won a lot of games. They've been to the playoffs every year but one. I think they'll probably get back there this year. He got to 2 NFC championship games. Unfortunately, like they had a couple years where they were the 1 seed and just weren't able to get over the hump with Rodgers there. But Packers fans are going frustrated with LaFleur. And I'll say this, I think LaFleur is being treated as a scapegoat. Not to say he's perfect. I think some of his play calling tendencies would be a little frustrating. But Jordan Love has got to play better. Jordan Love was horrific on Monday. Was not good against Carolina. He needs to play like he did at the beginning of the year, like he did it's down the stretch in 2023, like he has in the past. I'm not saying Jordan Love's a bad quarterback. I think he's a good quarterback. He just hasn't played like it recently. And I do think Brian Gutekunst's offensive roster construction is a little bit flawed. Outside of Tucker Kraft, they have no guys in that offense that scares anybody. And now, of course, Tucker Kraft's gone for the year. So they're very limited there. And I get their frustration, but I think if the Packers fight, like if they make the playoffs, which I think they will, he probably won't be fired. But the fact that it's even a conversation, I think, is a little bit silly and a little bit reactionary, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't think he should be on the hot seat this year, but I will say if I were to like if I were to rank the NFL head coaches from preseason and then redo my rankings now, I do think LaFleur would be lower. Like I don't think he's not a bad coach. He's objectively not a bad coach. I think he's inarguably one of the 20 best coaches. He's probably top 15 at the very
I'd
worst.
say he's top 10. I think he's like
I think he's lower than top 10. Yeah, I think he's like 9. I'm fine with like 9 or 10, but I would have to go through the coaches. But I just don't think he's like a high ceiling coach. Like I just don't think he's a guy who can elevate a bad team, but to be like better than it, much better than it is. But I do think he could be a quality coach. I think if you have a quality team, like he's not going to be one of those like coaches that like blows games. Like he's not going to be like Matt Eberflus was for Chicago, but
yeah.
he's almost like a coach who's maybe going to be slightly better. Like the team will be slightly better than his quality of the roster, if that makes sense. Like if you have like a 10-win roster, he could get you 11 wins. But there's guys like Andy Reid who, if you have a 10-win roster with Andy Reid, he'll get you like 13 or 14 wins. And like, without a question of a doubt that Andy Reid's going to be the better coach in pretty much every game he'll ever coach. Matt LaFleur, it's almost like he'll be the better coach in most games, but if he's against a coach that's like established or has an elite coaching staff, I don't know if Matt LaFleur is going to be the guy, and he kind of tends to crumble in those moments. Like we saw, the most notably in the Buccaneers NFC Championship game.
Yeah,
It was 28 to 20 with just over 2 minutes left. I understand the Packers had 3 timeouts, so it's not like the worst decision ever made by a coach, but like dude, you have the MVP, like, on, like, 4th and goal at the 8. Probably should have gone for it. Like, you should have put the ball in your MVP quarterback's hands. And if it doesn't happen, fine. I at least be willing to survive because you're playing a risk, and that risk did not work out. And I'd rather be wrong betting on my MVP than betting on my defense.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm going by divisions. Here are the coaches that I would take over Matt LaFleur that I think are better coaches than Matt LaFleur. Andy Reid, Jim
Yep,
Harbaugh, Sean
sure.
Payton.
Sure, maybe.
Uh,
Not exactly impressed with Sean Payton, but,
I
like,
like I
I
don't
guess
think I don't Andy Reid and Jim Harbaugh, yes. Sean Payton, maybe. Uh
maybe.
yeah. Um gosh. Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay.
Yeah, I think Mike McDonald's a better coach. Like, I know Mike McDonald hasn't been around for a
Yeah,
while, but, like,
I need to see
if
a little
you
bit more. Um
I get it, but, like, if you were to ask me, like, hey, you have an NFL job opening and it's between Mike McDaniel and Matt LaFleur, I'd go with Mike McDonald, but that's just me.
okay. Um I get the sentiment there. I would take LaFleur over Mike Tomlin. I'd take him over John Harbaugh.
Sure.
Um
Yeah. At this point, yeah, for both of them, yeah.
I would take him over definitely over Pete Carroll.
Yeah. Oh,
100%.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, he's washed.
I'm higher on Nick Sirianni than you are. I'd
I think
probably take Nick Sirianni. His resume is just so much better
Yeah,
than
I think Sirianni's a better leader of men. I just
yeah.
don't I just kind of don't really like I'm kind of getting nervous about the CEO type of head coaches. So it's working out for Dan Campbell and Jim Harbaugh.
Oh,
I mean,
Dan
Dan
Campbell. I
Campbell
take Dan Campbell over
Dan,
LaFleur.
Cam- yeah,
100%. Yeah.
Dan Campbell's calling. I just don't like the CEO archetype, but I mean, it's working out for Sirianni so far. So, like, I'm not going to blame you for taking Sirianni over LaFleur.
Yeah.
I would probably take
I need to
LaFleur, but,
see
like, I don't blame
Steichen.
you.
Yeah. Guys like Steichen and McDonald, they haven't coached in the playoffs yet. I got to see that.
Sure, that's fair.
I take him over Sean McDermott.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, I think I'd take Mike Vrabel. I would take Mike Vrabel over
Oh
LaFleur.
yeah. Easily.
Yeah.
Yeah, not even close.
So
Yeah.
I think he's a top 10 coach. I do think he's closer to 10 than he is to 1. But with that said, I don't think the Packers should consider firing him at this point.
No, not yet.
All right.
Not yet.
We'll stick with the team that the Packers just lost to, the Philadelphia Eagles. They are 7-2. They are currently the number 1 seed in the NFC, but it's not without drama. They scored just 10 points despite winning the game. And AJ Brown was on some like live stream video game type thing.
Twitch, yeah, he was on Twitch.
He was on Twitch, and he was basically like bitching about his targets because AJ Brown's production this year has not been spectacular. Devontae Smith has been the better Eagles receiver. I think AJ Brown's a better player than Devontae Smith is, but the Eagles, for whatever reason, God knows why, have just been unable to get him involved. I don't understand it. He's an exceptional player. I think when he's at his best, I think he's a top 3 receiver in the league, only behind Chase and Jefferson. He's an exceptionally talented football player, but he was saying like basically don't pick me up in fantasy, and basically how he's not enjoying the season, despite the fact that the Eagles are 7-2. It's very weird. The Eagles are a very weird team because they win all the time, but like there's some very weird locker room dynamics. And even last year when they won the whole thing, if you remember, Lucas, after that Carolina game, where Jalen Hurts struggled and the passing game was not good, AJ Brown basically like called out Hurts and said our passing game sucks. And then of course the next game, like AJ Brown had one of his best games of the season. So it's a very weird thing. I still think they're a really good team. I don't think this will affect them that much, just because I think there's enough guys in the team where it's just kind of a side thing. But I don't know if you're AJ Brown, like how this helps the team in any way. And I do think if they play against Detroit and they have an offensive stinker again, and AJ Brown has 3 catches for 25 yards, and they lose and they bumblefuck their way to like a 20-14 loss, it's only going to get louder. Like it's not going to look. They're going to win the division. We're not going to see a 2023-esque collapse here. I think this team is far more talented than that team, but it's a very interesting dynamic, and I do think whether it's Patullo, the offensive coordinator, or Jalen Hurts, the fact that they have been their inability to get AJ Brown involved this year has been a little bit jarring, in my opinion. Because Devontae Smith's been really good. They have had no issues with him. It's just AJ Brown has not been involved as much as he should be this season.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I was just doing the math while you were talking. He's been targeted once every 4.94 receiving snaps. So anytime he went to go run a route, it's about 1 out of every 5. Let's just say that. Last year, it was 1 out of every 4. So not a. I guess it's a drastic difference when you think about it. If you do the math, if he was targeted at last year's rate, he would have 11 more targets through how many games? Are 8 games or 9 games? Or 9. So he'd have
Yeah, they
like
played
1 more
9. They've
target
had
per
their
game.
bye, so yeah,
He'd have
9.
1 more target per game, so it's not drastic, but he's been very hot or cold. Like every game this season, he's either had at least 80 or under 45. Like not a lot in the middle class there. So he's pretty much on pace for over 1,300 yards, or he's on pace for under 750. So not a lot of like mediocre performance. It's either all or nothing. And I think it's kind of frustrating. Like you would think a guy like him, who's a physical specimen, he's strong, he's big, he can run routes, he could pretty much like run every route you want.
He's
There's not
great.
a
Yeah,
lot.
he's one of the best
Yeah,
players in the NFL.
he's very complete. It just doesn't seem like it just kind of seemed like Jalen Hurts struggles to see the outside of the field. Like and that's kind of a big problem. Like and the Eagles they trust their run game. Jalen Hurts clearly prefers Dallas Goedert over AJ Brown for whatever reason. I mean, he just won Super Bowl MVP, so who am I to question him? But it just doesn't seem like the fit is there. They paid both AJ Brown and Devontae Smith second contracts or third contracts. I just don't think the fit is there. I think it's not that AJ Brown's a bad player, the Eagles are a bad team. It's more like the fit is just not there anymore. And this has been a story for a while. I remember these trade rumors popped up a little bit last season. It just doesn't seem like they're a good match anymore. It would make sense for him to be traded. I'll do the salary cap math a little bit like after I'm done talking, but it seems like they would have to trade him. I seem like it's you would think they would get a good haul for him. I don't think they would
Oh
get
yeah,
exactly what they paid for him. They'd get probably like a second round pick because he is getting a little bit older. But at the same time, he's a good player. Eagles, I think, regardless, are going to be targeting a wide receiver. I've been looking at some Eagles blogs. It seems like even if AJ Brown's back next year, wide receiver is a pretty commonly mocked position to them in the first round, and that's with AJ Brown on the roster. I just think it's time for them to move on. The roster is like getting sneaky old in certain areas. Like the offensive line is getting pretty old in certain areas. Like Blaine Johnson's getting old. Landon Dickerson can't stay healthy. Saquon's a running back, and he has a low shelf life. Dallas Goedert's been around for a while. It just seems like maybe the Eagles need to start getting younger at certain positions, and then wide receiver could just be that. AJ Brown's going to be 29 next season. Maybe they just sell high. They have he led them to 2 Super Bowls. He won 1. Maybe they just sell high, they cash in, and they get younger at the position because it doesn't seem like he likes being there. He likes winning, I guess, but I guess he's one of those guys that feels like I feel like the team is at its best when I'm contributing. I think you're frozen because you're giving me a weird look. So I think Owen is frozen right now. So if he can hear me, please say something. But I have nothing left to say with AJ Brown. I'm going to give Owen another second or two, but I'm kind of doing the math right now. According to Over the Cap, the Eagles would have to like swallow.
okay,
like
I'm back. I'm back.
an addition. Okay, cool. Sorry about that. What was the last part that you heard?
I heard most of it. The last thing I heard was I think you're lost your connection because your face is frozen. That's the last thing I heard. But look, AJ Brown's gonna be he's gonna ride out for the rest of the year. He's gonna help him try to win the Super Bowl again. I still think they could get there, but it'll be interesting to see how the rest of the year goes, see if they can get him involved against a Lions secondary that absolutely can be had. So we'll see what's going on for the Eagles. And Lucas, I'm a moron. I forgot one pretty important thing. We were gonna do our mid-season because it's a little bit past mid-season award selections. I know I didn't say that. I didn't give you any time to prepare in
We
our
could rapid
conference
fire.
championship and Super Bowl predictions. Uh, can we just run through those real quick? We don't have to spend a
Uh,
whole lot of time on them, but
yeah, I think I just did my updated predictions for the
so
NFL.
it's
But
and for
we
the
can start.
record, it's
Yep.
MVP, Opoi, Depoy, offensive rookie of the year, defensive rookie of the year, coach of the year, comeback player of the year.
Gotcha. Okay,
So
cool.
I'll let you go
I'll let you.
first. Actually, you
I'll
want me
let
to
you
go
go
first?
first. Yeah,
Okay.
it'll allow me more time to think, so that would be preferred.
All right, so my pick for comeback player of the year is Christian McCaffrey. He leads the NFL in all-purpose yards after a really injury-riddled season last year. My pick for coach of the year is Mike Vrabel. Look, I expected the Patriots to be competent this year. I don't think anybody had them at 8-2. So Mike Vrabel's my pick there. My selection for defensive rookie of the year. Boy, oh boy. I'm gonna come back to that one. I didn't really think about that. Offensive rookie of the year. Gosh, that's a tough one, Lucas. The rookies of the
Yeah.
year. Um, man, because I feel like there hasn't been any that's like really stood out. You can
Yeah,
tell me if I'm
especially.
off base, but
I mean, Emeka Buka's been pretty good in
Emeka
Tampa, but
Ibuka's making a case, but he's been hurt at times though.
yes,
Obviously won't be a quarterback. I mean, Dart's played well, but the Giants have 2 wins. I just don't see it. Um, any running backs? Just going
um,
through. Oh, Tyler
yeah,
Warren. Tyler Warren. Tyler Warren's my pick for offensive rookie of the year.
sure, yeah, that makes
Yeah,
sense.
I'll go with Tyler Warren. Defensive rookie of the year, like I gotta be honest. My pick was Malachi Starks in the preseason. He has not been very good this year. Um, defensive
Yeah,
rookie of the year.
yeah,
I don't know. Man, this is why this is the bad part of doing it on the fly. All right.
yeah,
Anyways, so offensive player of the year, that's easy. Jonathan Taylor, not even close.
sure.
Defensive player of the year. I know his team sucks. I'm gonna go with Miles Garrett. He has 10 sacks already. He's been as he's been for much of his career, the best defensive player in football again. Um, and then MVP, I'm gonna go with Matthew Stafford. I think he's been the best quarterback so far this year.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna go reverse order of you. MVP, gonna go Matt. I'm gonna go Matthew Stafford as well. I could see an argument for Sam Darnold, but I think Stafford is better. I think they've been about equally efficient, but I'm gonna go with the better counting stats. So give me Stafford. Hopefully he can stay healthy. Defensive rookie of the year. I'm gonna go slightly out of order, but defensive rookie of the year. There's no one that's really stood out. Like
That's
that's
the
kind of
problem. Yeah.
yeah.
I,
That's like the weird thing. Abdul Carter's been all right, but not
like
amazing.
Jihad Campbell in Philadelphia has been pretty good, but I don't know if he's been that good.
I probably go Jihad Campbell. He's the only like defensive
Like
rookie with at least 340 snaps this season with a PFF grade above 72, and he is at 81. So I guess I'll just go with Jihad Campbell.
by
Go Eagles, I
default.
guess. Yeah, offensive player of the year, gonna go Jonathan Taylor. That's pretty easy. Comeback player of the year, gonna go Christian McCaffrey. Defensive player of the year, oh, man. Coach of the year, Mike Vrabel. I'll copy you there. I don't think that's anything special there. I'm just gonna go with the simple one. Then with defensive player of the year, I'll probably go with Miles Garrett as well. Having another monster season. Micah Parsons not far behind.
No,
Aiden
yeah, player.
Hutchinson.
Yeah.
Aiden Hutchinson, I think if he gets some like high sack games, could like throw himself back into the mix. So probably those three, but give me Garrett. Then offensive rookie of the year. Ooh, I think right now just got to think because Mecca Buka's missed a couple games, so it's kind of tough for me to kind of go with him. But the overall yardage, he has the most overall yards, even though he's missed a game for Tampa. I think Tampa hasn't had their bye yet. No, Tampa has
No,
had
they
their
have.
bye.
They were on it week 9.
Okay, so he's played 9 games. He has the most receiving yards. Tyler Warren's not far behind him, despite being a tight end. I'm just gonna go with Ibuka. I don't want to have the same picks as you did. So give me Emeka Ibuka for offensive rookie of the year, though it is close. And then what's the last one? Did I miss one?
No, you got them all.
Yeah, I think comeback player of the year. Yeah, I think we had the same pick, except I'm going with Ibuka and you're going with Warren for offensive rookie of the
Yeah.
year.
Yeah,
Did I
for
go?
sure.
Wait. Oh, defensive rookie of the year. I went with Jihad Campbell. Who did you go with again?
Really think of him. I kind of forgot about him. But I think he's been pretty good this season for Philadelphia. Um,
Campbell. Yeah.
one quiet. He's not going to win. Quiet defensive player of the year candidate. Cam Hayward's been really good this year. Again, top.
Yes.
He's the top rated defensive tackle by PFF, and he's on a significantly better team. But I just don't. It's really hard for an interior defensive lineman to get it unless you're Aaron Donald. So I think Miles Garrett's probably the better bet because the stats will be in his favor.
No, that's fair. That's absolutely fair.
All
So,
right.
yeah.
Picks. All right. Lucas and I are separated by 2 games. 3 games actually. Week 11 picks. We are here. If I'm going to pull up our records, I am
Are we,
91 and 58. Lucas is 88 and 61. It's very close. My
Are we
father is
just
one
going?
of.
Are we
What
are
was
we
that,
skipping
Lucas?
over the Are we skipping over the final four picks for the conference championship and Super Bowl? Because I thought you mentioned that.
We'll do that after this.
Okay, cool. Okay, fine. Cool.
Okay.
Yeah, gives
Yeah.
me more time. So cool.
Yeah, for sure. That's exactly why I did it. So, our picks this week. Tomorrow night, AFC East matchup, Patriots Jets. The Jets have won 2 straight. That ends tomorrow night. Give me the New England to win at home. Dolphins Commanders over in Madrid, the last international game this year. I'm actually going to take the Dolphins. I cannot believe I'm saying this. The Commanders feel pretty cooked to me. They're just injured to all hell. The Dolphins have won 2 of their last 3. It looks like they're having some fun. Give me Miami in this one. Falcons and Panthers. I'm going to take the Falcons at home. The Panthers, I just don't trust Bryce Young in the slightest. Atlanta's due for a win. They've lost 4 straight. Bills Bucks. I'll take the Bills at home. They got to win this game if they want any shot in hell at winning the division, which might be a long shot to begin with. But this is a must win. Um, Tough one, but I'll take the Bills. Jags Chargers. I'm going to take the Chargers in this one. I feel like Jacksonville is about to get a little bit of a free fall here. Also, Trevor Lawrence against Jesse Minter's defense is just not a favorable matchup in the slightest. Vikings Bears. I'll take the Bears in this one. They should have beat them in week 1 in that Monday night opener. The Bears are playing better football. Not an easy game. I don't feel super confident about this one, but I just don't see the Bears getting swept by this Vikings team. Giants Packers. I'll take the Packers to get off the snide. Jameis will make it fun, but ultimately I think the Giants are just overmatched in this one. Although don't count out the interim coach boost. So that's one thing to look at. Steelers Bengals. I'll take the Steelers to bounce back at home. Again, like I have a difficult time seeing the Steelers getting swept by this Bengals team. The Steelers have also been, pretty good in those early window 1 p.m. games this season. This is a good spot for them. I think Rodgers will bounce back against the Bengals' horrific defense. Give me Pittsburgh to get to 6 wins. Titans, Texans, the Texans, not much said. I don't care who's playing quarterback. Cardinals, Niners. Give me the Niners in this game. The Cardinals, again, just not a good football team. At least I didn't pick them to make the playoffs like some people did. Not naming names. Here's the game of the week, Lucas. Maybe the game of the year between, I would argue, the 2 best teams in football. Rams Seahawks out in SoFi. Give me the Rams in this one. I think they're the slightly better team. I think they're the more established team. They're at home, even though they don't have much of a home field advantage. It'll be a great game. But I like the Rams in this spot a lot. Browns Ravens. God Almighty. You know what? I'm taking the Browns. I don't care. Lamar did not practice today, so he's not a lock to play in this game. He probably will. It's in Cleveland. Those games in Cleveland are always weird because the Browns defense will keep him in it. This is my shot in the dark pick. I can just see the Ravens, who have had a tendency to lose games they have no business losing, just you know, scoring 13 points. Like the Browns just do just enough to pull a win out of their ass. Um, and they win a game they have no business winning to ruin their draft position, which will infuriate their fans. Broncos, Chiefs. I like the Chiefs in this one. I think they're the better team despite the record differentiation, and they silence those Broncos fans out in Denver. Sunday Night Football, Eagles, Lions. Give me the Eagles at home to win this game in Philadelphia. It was in Detroit. I changed my mind. I would take the Lions. I think these teams are 2 very similar in caliber. But I like Philly in this spot. And then Monday Night Football, a really bad Monday night game. Raiders, Cowboys. Give me the Cowboys to win this game.
Cool. Yep. I think we have 5 disagreements, so this could be a moving week for people who want to improve and catch up on the other person. That would be me. I am
Yeah.
3 games behind you. So, okay, let's get this rolling. So, first game, Jets, Patriots. Not going to waste time there. Commanders, Dolphins. I'm also on the Dolphins. Jane Daniels won't be back. He will not be entertaining the Spanish crowd. Panthers, Falcons. I'm going to go with Atlanta. You took Atlanta, right?
I did, yes.
Okay, so we have 4 disagreements then. Not my bad.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought you did. Yeah, Bucks, Bills. I'm going to go with the Bucks, actually. I think the Bucks should be slightly healthier. I would hope Bucky Irving's back. Would hope that their Bucks are going to be a little bit healthier, but we will see. Chargers, Jaguars. I'm actually going to take Jacksonville. It's a noon game, flying across the country. Could be a little tough, but we'll see. We'll kind of see where Jacksonville's at. If Jacksonville comes out flat, I think they're cooked. But if they come out firing, I trust. That's a sign to trust Liam Cohen. Bears Vikings. I'm going to go with Minnesota. I just think Kevin O'Connell's like realizing this is maybe his last stand. Like not as a coach, but
Oh,
like
come
just for
on.
the
Kevin
season.
O'Connell's not getting fired, Lucas.
That's not what I meant. That's not what I meant. But
This
just for
season.
this,
Okay.
I mean this is the Vikings. I think if they lose this game, it might get dark early and my beloved Minnesota, which it is unfortunately getting dark around 5:30. So that's
Yeah,
tough.
same
That's a
here.
tough scene.
Here in
Yeah,
Nebraska. So
that's a tough scene. Yep. Packers, Giants, Packers, Bengals, Steelers, Texans, Titans, Texans, Niners, Cardinals. Give me the Niners. Seahawks, Rams. Give me Los Angeles. Ravens, Browns. I'm gonna take Baltimore. Even if Tyler Huntley plays, I'm still gonna take
I
Baltimore.
know. This is my
I think Baltimore's desperate. Yeah, I get it.
They are, but like the Browns seem to win games they have no business winning. I think this will be one of them. Like Dylan Gabriel might throw for like 10 yards, and yet I could just see it. I don't know. This seems like a classic Ravens, like they lost in Cleveland last year. It seems like a classic Ravens like bullshit loss. I don't know. I'm just going off vibes.
No, I feel you. Okay, Chiefs, Broncos. Give me the Chiefs. Um, Detroit and Philadelphia. I forgot who did you pick for this game?
I picked the Eagles.
So I picked Detroit. Okay, this is the other disagreement. Okay, that's why. We do
Okay.
a 5 disagreement. I'm taking Detroit. Eagles are on a short week. Detroit. We'll see how they play. In a road environment. Let's see if Jared Goff can play well in a tough environment to play in. Did not play super well in Kansas City, but let's hope Dan Campbell has them ready to play. So give me Detroit, and then Cowboys, Raiders. I guess give me the Cowboys. This game there might be 80 points in this game because I guess Brock Bowers could go nuts again. But yeah, give me the Cowboys nonetheless.
All right. Awesome. So for standings updates, there's 4 people in here. My father's in first place. He's 103 and 46. My dad will be a
Good job,
guest
Papa
on this
Smith.
podcast at some point. Matt Verderam, who was a guest on this podcast a few weeks ago, he's second. He's 101 and 48 on the season. His picks are actually available online at Sports Illustrated. I am third at 91 and 58, and then Lucas bring up the rear, but not by much at 88 and 61. So we'll see what happens this week. Okay, Lucas, AFC Championship prediction. Do you want me to go first, or do you want to go first? You want me to go first? I didn't hear what you said.
Oh, sorry, I was on mute. Yeah, you go first. You go first.
All right, so in the AFC Championship game, I think the site for this game, the host team, will be the New England Patriots. I think the visiting team will be the Kansas City Chiefs. It'll be a rematch of the 2018 AFC Championship game. My predictions for the seeds in the AFC. We'll do our seeding predictions as well.
Sure.
So at the 1, I think New England's going to be the 1 seed. I think Indianapolis will be second. I think the Chiefs will be third. Ravens, Steelers. I think the Ravens will be fourth. I think the Bills will be fifth. I think the Steelers will be sixth. And oh god, I forgot about the Broncos. Bills. So Ravens 4, Bills 5. I think the Broncos are going to be the 6th seed. I think they're going to lose some games here down the stretch. And then I think the Steelers will be 7th. I think the Chargers miss out. I think the alt injury, the Steelers can take advantage of it. I think other teams will. I think it might do them in. I think the Chargers just miss, despite that they're 7-3. I mean, you picked them to lose to Jacksonville this week. So I think it'll be Patriots, Chiefs, and I think the Chiefs are going to win the game because I just think there's so much more experience. So I don't feel good about it. I've been critical of the Chiefs this year. They're outside of the playoffs as it stands now, but I think they're going to be back in the Super Bowl once again. I just think this AFC is just so flawed in so many ways, and I think the Chiefs will be back in it in Santa Clara. And then the NFC, I think the Rams will be the 1. I think the Eagles will be the 2. I think the Lions will be 3rd. The Bucks will be 4th. Seattle will be 5th. Green Bay will be 6th. And I think the Bears are going to make the playoffs. I think they'll be 7th. I think the Niners just miss out. The Niners are my team that just misses out. My NFC Championship prediction, I think it's the top 2 seeds. I think it's Rams Eagles out in SoFi. And I like the Rams. So my Super Bowl prediction for Super Bowl 59 is the Los Angeles Rams and the Kansas City Chiefs, and I have the Rams winning. I think the Rams are the best team in the NFL. So the Rams win their second Super Bowl in 5 years, and Matthew Stafford wins MVP of the Super Bowl.
Got it. We're actually pretty similar in the AFC. Have some slight disagreements, but yeah. Number one, I just changed it up like 10 seconds ago, so I think we literally had the same exact 1 through 6 seed, except we switched 2 of the teams. The 7 seed was very different. But 1 through 6 in the AFC, call me a homer. I don't care. I think the Chiefs coming out of their bye, I think they're going to come out firing. But we're going to learn a lot about this team. I don't think they're going to lose another game the rest of the regular season. I think they'll be the 1. Patriots will be the 2 at 13-4. Colts, I think, will probably slip a couple more times. Daniel Jones is Daniel Jones. Colts are the 3. Ravens are the 4. We agree there. Bills are the 5. We agree there. Broncos are the 6. We agree there. Here's where I'm slightly different. I'm going to start buying some Texan stock. Like, I don't think the Texans are going to.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean,
so no Steelers, no Chargers.
Correct. I think the Steelers are about to collapse, and this is the Texans like losing some games. Like, this is not like the Texans running the table. I mean, I think they're going to lose to the Colts, lose to the Chiefs, so they're going to lose a couple times. But they have the Bills at home on a Thursday. They could win that game. Like, of course they can. Buffalo doesn't have a strong pass rush. And I think they could go to the Chargers and win. Chargers don't have an elite pass rush, but I think those edge rushers can really take advantage of backup tackles for the Chargers. So I think if the Chargers win that game, the Chargers are in. But give me Houston. I'll go through the NFC much faster. Rams at the 1 seed, Lions at the 2, Bucks at the 3, Eagles at the 4, Packers at the 5, Seahawks at the 6, Niners at the 7. When I went through the games, I just think the Packers have kind of a soft schedule down the road. I just don't think it's going to be super difficult. I think they're going to beat the Broncos. Like, I think the Broncos are frauds. I think they'll sweep the Bears, and I think they'll end up beating the Vikings twice. Like, it's not that they have a soft schedule. I just think they're kind of playing some teams that I think they're going to be able to take advantage of. So, and then Seahawks 6, Niners 7, and then just in the AFC Championship game, we actually had it surprisingly close. Like, I originally had the AFC Championship game being the Ravens at the Chiefs. I switched it, and it's now going to be the Patriots at the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs get their revenge for 2018. Chiefs go back to the Super Bowl, and then NFC Championship game, Lions at Rams, and then I think the Rams win that game at SoFi. Super Bowl, Rams, Chiefs were the same there. I'm going to go with the Chiefs. I just can't see the Chiefs losing back-to-back Super Bowls. Like, I think if the Chiefs are going to lose, I do think it'll be in the AFC Championship game. I think maybe similar to the Bengals in 2021, the Patriots come up and they surprise people. They think, everyone thinks, they're a year away, and then, they get the Chiefs at Arrowhead. I think or in your case, Foxborough. I think that'll be the scenario. I just think if the Chiefs get to the Super Bowl, they're not going to lose. I don't think they have a fatal flaw like they did last year. Like, I think last year the offensive line was a disaster, and it caved them in. The pass rush this year is a problem, but the Rams don't exactly have a super strong pass protection unit, and like Stafford's pretty old and immobile. So I think as long as their corners can cover, which their corners have been able to show they can play well in big games, I'm just going to take the Chiefs. I think as frustrating as they are, I think this team has fewer flaws than the team last year that went like 15-2 and went to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I think, there's some consistency problems that some people are worried about, but like, I think their biggest problem is just that they lost too many games early on when they did not have a perfect roster. And the roster's not perfect, but when they had like the wide receiver issues, they had inconsistency at one of the offensive line spots right now, and that caused them to lose games. So they do have less margin for error, but I just think I'm looking at this roster. The only part of the team where I'm like concerned is the defensive line and just getting a consistent pass rush. They have a good run defense. They have a good secondary. Their offensive line is a good pass protecting unit. They have a great quarterback. The running backs are much maligned. Like, fans are crying because they didn't get Breece Hall. The Chiefs are not gonna fail to reach the Super Bowl because they don't have Breece Hall. I think if they don't reach the Super Bowl, it's that they can't pressure Drake May, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. But in the end, give me the Chiefs over the Rams. I wouldn't be surprised if the Rams won. I think the Rams have a good team. Like, in our preseason predictions, I thought the Rams were going to miss the playoffs only because I was terrified of Stafford's injury. Like, I think if you were to guarantee me Stafford's going to be healthy, I probably would have had the Rams in the Super Bowl because I just love that roster so much. But yeah, that's my prediction: Chiefs over Rams.
And Stafford's basically been Jesus Christ in cleats this season.
Yes,
so
he was like Yeah,
Who would have thought?
The one season we thought he would be washed or dealing with a back injury, which he was dealing with a back injury most of the season, most of the off season. So like there was some context that we had to support us, but he has the highest that Rams have the highest passing grade of any team in the NFL this year. Stafford is legit playing the best football of his career. It's weird. I know he has a 25-2 touchdown to interception ratio. I don't think it's that. I do think that is mostly reflective of his play. I don't think that's fugazi. He hasn't had a truly bad game this year. He's had a couple like non-elite games, but like even the games where he wasn't good or wasn't great, he was still and he was still all right. He has yet to have a true stinker. Even in some tough environments like Baltimore and Philadelphia, he's played okay. He was elite against a great Texans offense or great Texans defense. He lit up the Niners, even though they don't have their guys. I think Stafford's clearly been the MVP. I think if the receivers can stay healthy, I know Adams is hurt, but like the only real flaw they have is their pass protection. Like that's really it. Like that's the only part of the team where I look at and it's like, oh, it's not great. And even that, they have pieces there. Their offensive line has been better the last month. Their offensive line was probably the worst unit in the NFL the first month of the season. And then quietly, like ever since that Thursday night game against the Niners, they figured it out. And it's not a great unit. It's not going to be a shutdown unit against elite pass rushers, but I don't look at it as like a net negative. I think as long as Alaric Jackson, who's an average left tackle, if he can have a good day at the office, Stafford's going to be kept clean.
Yeah, for 100% for sure. Lucas with the amazing analysis as usual. All right, so playoff teams. So Lucas, I'm just going to throw your picks real quick. So you had, tell me if I'm wrong, Patriots, Dolphins, Falcons, Bucks, Jaguars.
The weak picks. I think you said playoff picks. I thought you said Dolphins.
Yeah, I'm doing that, and then the Super Bowl picks. Jaguars. So am I right so far? Vikings.
Yes.
Packers.
Yes.
Steelers.
Yes.
Texans.
Yes.
Niners.
Correct.
Rams.
Yep.
Ravens.
Of course.
Chiefs.
Yeah.
Lions. Cowboys.
Yes, sir. I think you got that.
And then your playoff teams in the AFC 1 through 7, Chiefs, Patriots, Colts, Ravens, Bills, Broncos, Texans. That's the dark horse.
The Texans are in on a tiebreaker, I should say. I think according to the simulator I use, it's common opponents. So the Texans went 4-2 against the right team, Steelers 2-4. That's why they're in.
And then the Steelers, Chargers, and Jags miss for you.
Yep.
Those three teams are all in right now. And then for me, it's 1 through 7, Patriots, Colts, Chiefs, Ravens, Bills, Broncos, Steelers. NFC, Lucas is 1 through 7, Rams, Lions, Bucks, Eagles, Packers, Seahawks, Niners. My 1 through 7, Rams, Eagles, Lions, Bucks, Seahawks, Packers, Bears. Lucas is AFC champ. We both have the Chiefs and the Patriots in the AFC championship. Lucas in the NFC championship has the Rams over the Lions. I have the Rams over the Eagles. And then Super Bowl 59, we both have the Chiefs and the Rams. I have the Rams winning. Lucas has the Chiefs winning. So those are our midseason predictions. Lucas, do you have any parting thoughts before we meet again next Tuesday?
I do not. I am excited for another weekend of football, and we're just a little bit closer to Thanksgiving football.
Of course.
Which is the best type of football.
Exactly. 100%. Lucas and I can't wait to preview those games. All right, that wraps it up. That wraps up this episode. Week 11 kicks off tomorrow night with the Patriots and the Jets. Lucas and I will be back next Tuesday to rehash all the action from Week 11, and then, of course, look ahead to Week 12. We are really hitting the apex of the season. Lucas, thanks a lot. We will see you next week.